now I could live with, but hopefully we'll get a summer like this. I was trying to think now, your life pretty much, I would say for many decades, was dedicated to running. Was there a starting point that you recognised? Was there a teenage experience? I don't know when this kind of came into your life.
Well, I had a lot of other aspects of my life.
Of course, but you know, it's like saying a drummer and a musician and all that have other aspects, but it just seems like a big part of your life.
Yeah, it has been a big part of my life, yes. It started in University College Galway, 22 years of age at the time, and I had been playing handball. Handball was my game.
Right.
And I played university handball. I was a good handballer. But at that stage I got glasses, and I was playing with glasses. And what most people find probably strange to believe at this stage is that back in those days, in the 60s, contact lenses didn't exist.
Right.
If they did, they didn't exist in Ireland. Plastic lenses and glasses didn't exist. You just wore your glasses and made out of glass. So,
right.
If anybody knows how handball is played, it's played with a small ball and it travels very, very fast. And it was inevitable that at some stage I'd get a glass, I'd start to get a ball in my glasses, and the glasses would break, it would get into my eye, and I could lose my sight.
Wow.
So I decided at that stage that just to give up handball and take up something else. And then looking around, there wasn't that much Gaelic football. Okay, I played that when I was younger, but glasses would be a problem there again. And so looking around, came into my mind running might be the sport I should take up. I had no expectations of being good, but I wanted to join the club and I wanted to do a sport. So I joined the club, and it turned out as time went on that was very much better than I ever expected.
Well, that idea that as I said, that you're quite well known for it. I don't know if you yourself had a kind of a transitional period where it became something more than just a bit of fun or a hobby or keeping fit. Was there a sort of a point where you recognised, I can do this, I can do it well?
Not particularly. I joined UCG Athletic Club, and again it just happened. I turned out to be good, and I got on the first team within a week or two of taking up running for the first time.
Wow.
Again, I was thin and I was light and I was young and I was fit from the handball, and I didn't smoke and I didn't drink, so it wasn't any problem. So in my first year I was on the team, and we won quite the Galway cross country championships and the road racing, and then in my second year I just got better and we won more competitions, and I ran my first marathon in my second year. Marathon was kind of a magical type of thing. Okay,
yeah.
It's 26 miles or 42k if you want to talk like that, and survive even to just finish a marathon was always considered to be an end in itself. And I ran my first marathon. It was down in Cork, and the time I was aiming for was to break 3 hours.
Right.
And when I came in, I crossed the line, and the time came up 2 hours 33.
Hey!
So, and I was in 5th place in the national championship,
wow.
which was everybody's amazement. I remember one of my best friends who had driven down at the time, Liam Kavanagh was his name, meeting him immediately when I was walking off the course to the changing room, and he said to me, where did you fall out? And I said, I didn't fall out, I ran 2:33, and 3 hours was the magic time in those days. So,
and were you amazed? Because I mean, you're saying your friends were amazed. I'm guessing you must have been.
I was hugely surprised. I was.
Right.
But again, I just assumed that was just okay. And at that stage, running was a hobby, and my main interest was my studies. That's about it. People may say I was a bit of a nerd. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I had a huge lot of interest. I loved running, as I said. I loved dancing. Dancing was my biggest interest in life. I just like backing horses and that kind of stuff. Dating girls, wondering who I'd date next, you know. So I had all those interests in
But
life.
was there a point when you realised, okay, this is something you're good at? There's a point, though, I guess, in most long careers in any field that you have to go from being Elvis to a bit of Colonel Tom Parker. You have to start to figuring out, what do I do here, and do I...
No, I never took it that seriously.
Okay.
No, even, you see, it was a sport. And there was a lot of sports in Ireland, and like GAA was the big thing, and I couldn't carry. And to be good at football would be a big thing. To be good at running, really, they'd say, why is he bothering doing it, you know?
Right.
So that, no, I never really took it that seriously. I then went and I studied, decided to do a PhD in London, and that was always more important to me. You know, I loved the running, and I was still go out training 4 or 5 days a week, and that's it.
Right.
But running, it was important to me, but nothing remotely as important as my studies. That's being honest about it. No.
Well, I guess people now more than ever have sort of taken to running and other forms of exercise as a sort of, obviously, the well-being side of it, but it's a form of meditation. It's a form of just being centered. I don't know if that was ever the thought of in your mind that this is no. It wasn't any kind of therapy or
thing. I was always competitive in life.
Right.
For instance, when I did exams, I had to be first in every exam. Well, I was always first. It turned out. When I went to university, I had to get first class honours.
Right.
I would be pretty fed up. So I was always competitive, and this was just a different aspect to my life.
And was that
competitive life?
Was that drive from the family, or was it just in your own kind of
myself.
DNA?
No,
right.
Myself.
Okay. And was that something you recognised early on, that you were driven, that you liked to sort of achieve the number one goal if you can?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. To me, the exam is a competition.
Right.
Running is a competition.
Okay.
Just staying alive is competition.
It is today.
And
yeah.
Like for instance, now, okay, I break up my life, roughly speaking, into 10 years of studying. I'm studying my BSc and my Master's, my PhD in England and America and places like that. And that was 10 years. Then I had 10 years of competitive running for Ireland, and running good marathons, winning international marathons, things like that.
Right.
And then I did 10 years of coaching, and in the 80s, in the right through the 80s. By the time I reached 10 years of good running, I had more or less decided what a good regime, what a good training program was. There was literally, people don't understand, there was nothing known about running in those days.
Okay.
Total ignorance. Totally. There was no magazine.
Literally, put on your runners and go.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So by the time, I was always a scientist apparently as well. And by the time I spent 10 years, and I was now in my late 30s, late 30s, that I had found this a system that would bring people to a good level. So I started coaching about 7 or 8 guys, and Jerry Kiernan being the one that my most successful, Emily Dowling, a girl from Greystones here ourselves, Eleanor Hill, coached out to be Irish marathon champion and to run for Ireland. So,
wow.
So my ideas turned out to be very correct, and those that I coached, they all ran internationally for Ireland. So and they won a lot of good competition. So that was successful, and then I spent 10 years going back to my academic life, more or less as being number one again.
Good man yourself. That's all, the least I expect of you. But that idea too now that there's almost, for some people it's almost like a religion to have their runs. Do you kind of have much time for that? Do you feel it's a little bit too much stressing on it?
It depends on how you view it. Like for instance, at the moment, if you ask me what age I am, I won't tell you. But I have the free travel. Let's put it with some years, and I would train 6 days a week for health reasons.
Right.
Now, what do I mean by train? I would have 4 different units of exercise.
Right.
One would be 30 minutes of stretching and running on the spot, you know.
Yeah.
On the spot and just get your heart rate out. That'd be one. That'd last 30 minutes. Another one would be 30 minutes running. I would start off by 30 minutes stretching and warming up, and then I'd run for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Another one would be doing 30 minutes of light weights. And the other one then, my fourth one, is walk 4 miles. So I would do 2 or 3 of those every day.
Brilliant.
And the idea is pass the time. It's very good for the head, because at the end of the day you can say, because I don't work now, that I did something meaningful for myself today.
Yeah.
Like for instance, say, what the hell do I do these kind of weights? I do it because, as we all know, well I know anyway, that as one gets older, one's muscles tend to weaken.
Sure.
And it's just a gradual thing, and that's life. The only way you can stop it is by dying. So, and I don't want to do that for a while. So,
good plan.
Anyway, the thing is that if I do light weights, it slows up the decay and weaknessing of my muscles. So I just do that, and that's the reason I do it. When I go either for running, because I like running, and because it's good for the head. So I've all of these. So I would do 2 of those, maybe 3, 2 of those 5, 6 days a week. You know,
wow.
The weather being okay, and my social life.
Yeah.
Like my social life comes well. I want to say comes first. No, I suppose doing 1 or 2 or 3 of these 5 or 6 days a week is important to me.
Well, that idea too, that you're very clean living, you were saying you don't drink and so forth, is there...
I didn't.
Oh, sorry, you didn't then, right.
Then.
I was going to say, is there a kind of a, do you allow yourself a little bit of unhealthy living occasionally?
Well, the only thing really, that I can only identify 2 unhealthy living things, and one is smoking, and the other one is eating sugar.
Right.
They're the only 2. So I don't smoke and I don't eat sugar. But if there's sugar in my bun or my coffee, or that's fine. I don't really mind. You can't get too hung up with these things, you know. Just to go and enjoy life as much as you can. Try and be nice to your body. Really love your body.
Right.
It is important. And we're so lucky here in Grayson. It's such a phenomenal place to live.
Yes.
You have the sea, you have the birds, you have this time of the year. This used to be my favourite time of the year for running. Because I would do, let's say, a 20-mile run from here up Elsidore, over to Roundwood, down by Slaughterville.
Nice.
And back here again, 20-odd miles. And it used to be beautiful this time of the year, because this time of the year the first bushes are blooming. There is nothing in the world as beautiful as a field of forest bushes, in my opinion anyway.
Right.
And also this, when you're running, you see these things. People say, aren't you bored? You're not, because you're seeing these beautiful things, and you see primroses, and you see bluebells, and these are things you never see if you're in a car.
You shouldn't you're seeing them in IMAX wide screen. You're seeing them 3D, the whole shebang.
That's right. So, and then you come down to the promenade here, and you see the seagulls, and you see the various starlings here trying to get a bit of our rub from us, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Greystones is a beautiful place to live.
Oh, cracker! It's growing on me slowly. The idea too that you know, a daily routine of in your case because you've such great fitness through your life that you're able to maintain a certain degree of it.
Yeah.
I guess that is a philosophy for everybody though, to have some degree of exercise, and it's a reward system. Then you feel
it's a fantastic reward system.
Yeah.
Like at this stage or other. Okay, I'll die sometime. I know that. But at the moment, I don't have a pain or ache of any sort.
Right.
I can eat anything. I don't drink much. I would drink a glass of wine with my meal most nights, and be out for. Myself and my wife, we go out for dinner once every week as well, and Gaeilge, for instance, and I have a pint of beer inside there. I come down here for my lunch every day.
Yeah.
It's just to see people. Just to see dogs like Oscar. What's the name?
Otto. Yes. Well, that's an important part of our psychology as well, just to be out in the world. I found out COVID kind of reminded me of that. I got so used to sort of staying in that you kind of lose touch with the everyday, and that's so important to interact. And
you're a lovely dog, and you're well looked after. I can see that.
So I suppose I suppose just to wrap up, I'm always sort of been aware of you, and I don't know whether you yourself kind of had moments where, because of your reputation was growing, that fame kind of it wasn't any issue for you, or just being well known was an issue, or
No.
yeah.
One of the things that struck me when I came to live in Greystones 50 years ago is that 50 years in May was how everybody left you to yourself.
Yeah.
I came from Kerry, from the Stone, where people were interested in the people next door, maybe too much so. But here, they just left you on your own.
Yeah.
Now, I know this is a big change, I find, in Greystones with the last 5 or 6 years. Maybe it was because of COVID, I don't know. But people are far more interested in each other, and people are more friendly. And if you're walking along and if there's a bunch of kids coming against you, I'm really impressed at how well mannered they are.
Yeah.
That they will invariably make way for you, and they will say, if you make way for them, they will say thank you very much. And Greystones has changed a lot in 5 years for the better. It's become much more of a community town.
Right.
Which is great. You know?
It's great to hear you say that, because I think there's a natural instinct in people to sort of regret that there's any change, and they sort of feel, because nostalgia reigns deep in people, and they want their childhood to remain forever when they have the memories of where they grow up.
Yeah,
and that's a constant, I think, in people here at the moment, is a belief that it's not as good as it used to be.
I think it's so much better. And for instance, when I came here, again, it's literally 50 years ago next May, there was one place where you could get a cup of tea and a cup of coffee. One.
Right.
Copper kettle.
Hey, right
here.
there, yeah.
And you would get what was available on the menu, and this was it. There was tea.
Yeah.
There was instant coffee, Nescafe. There was a scone.
Yeah.
And there was a cheese sandwich. That was the menu. Nothing else. And that was the only cafe in Greystones. Some time back, last year, I think it was 2 years maybe, I sat down one night, nothing to do. So just mentally went through all of the various cafes and restaurants and things like that in Greystones. There's 42, which is a huge number. A huge number. 42.
I know.
And okay. Thank you. This is what this is my
lovely, moly.
Yeah?
Otto's going to love that. Yeah, I let him loose because he was getting whiny. Good lad, you take it easy now. Take it easy, guys.
One of the there's a lot of great things about running. One is that you decide your own level.
Yeah.
If you go and you do the Dublin Marathon, you do 26 miles, maybe in 5 hours. The winner does it in 2 hours, 20 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes. Okay, but you run the same marathon, the same distance as he has.
Yeah.
Or she has.
Yeah.
That's important. You don't need a gym, you don't need a subscription, all you need is a good pair of runners and a bit of gear, and you can go running. You can row 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever you want, you know. So you're in control, and you can do it. I kept running for God knows how long, probably for nearly 40 years running.
Right.
Well, more because I'm still running. You know, I know it's still running. I'm slower and I don't do anything as much, and it has a different purpose in life.
Sure.
It's not for competition. I haven't competed for 20 years. But during that time I ran 100 marathons. Every one of them, well, they varied. My fastest was 2 hours and 16 minutes, which was the A qualifying time for the last Olympics. My time, the qualifying time is 2 hours 17, which I did in 1972.
That's amazing.
A long time ago. I won a big marathon over in Antwerp. It's called the Berkham Marathon, Berkham International Marathon. That was 1972. And I ran 2:16 that day. But that would have qualified me for Olympics the last time, and it would have got 6th place in the marathon final.
Holy moly! So I suppose
that was good.
I suppose the last thing, and maybe you've answered it already, is that the transformation of Greystones. We say the Happy Pear culture that's here now.
Great.
I'm guessing you're happy with that. It makes a difference to daily life.
Not alone is it great; it's fantastic. I'll tell you. Maybe you do, maybe you don't know. But about a year ago, the Happy Pear I've known for years, obviously. I don't know Yohi and Stefan. I still can't discern between the two of them.
Yes.
But I was walking past and they said, okay, you speak Irish? I said, yeah. And I said, okay, we've become interested in Irish. And to move on, every Friday now, from 4 o'clock until 5:30, anybody who wants to, including themselves and myself and the other people who wants to jump in, they can meet there in the restaurant or outside.
Yeah.
And we have tea and coffee, which the Happy Pear provide free, and we speak Irish.
Oh, lovely.
Gaeilge, what we would say would be Gaeilge Briste, broken Irish, but it doesn't matter. It's the Irish language, you know.
Lovely.
And there is a motto which I've often quoted, and they actually have it on display up in the Happy Pear themselves, and that is that is far Gaeilge Briste na Béle Cliste, which, if I may translate for you, is broken Irish is better than clever English.
Yay!
And they have gone from the stage of just having a few words, like they ever got from the Leaving Cert 20 odd years earlier, that they can now converse in Irish.
That's great.
Carry on a conversation. So we would, generally speaking, have 6 or 7 people meeting up there, and everybody's welcome. You're welcome yourself if you want to come along.
I'll try it. Yeah, sounds good.
Come along from 4 o'clock until 5:30 on Fridays. And
I'll bring along a few swear words in Irish. I'm sure I have some somewhere. So a good life then. I mean, I always think that.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great.
But I just think, just with your own life though, as I said, I've always been aware of you, but not quite sure of you know, how you got from here to there. But it just seemed like it was all joyful. There was never like a time where you didn't like running, or you fell out of love with it, or.
Okay, when you compete at the level I was competing back in the 70s, you were training hard,
Right.
and you're always on a knife edge as to whether you were injured or whether you weren't injured.
Right.
And back in those days, like for instance, there's no money involved. I used to have to buy my shoes, my gear, pay for my medical expenses, everything. There's no money, prize money. You got medals and cups and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But, you got injured.
Right.
One got injured periodically. Like in 1976, I felt I was at my best, and I was probably the best runner in Ireland for the marathon. In October of 75, I'd won an international marathon in Belgium, and I thought I'd get to the Olympics. I got injured, and that finished me.
Right.
You know, so apart from those disappointments, it has been fantastic, and it has made wonderful, wonderful friends for me, which most are dead at this stage, but those that live.
And those knockbacks sometimes have their own, you know, kind of, like they do teach us a certain amount of you know, inner strength.
That's right.
You know.
And I think what I got out of more than, well, I got a lot of things out of it, but one of the things is an appreciation of what a fantastic thing our body is. What a fantastic thing our body is. You know, it's so incredibly complicated, and the fact that it's able to enable us to run, to learn, to remember, all those things. You should always respect your body. And anybody who respects their body shouldn't take drugs, shouldn't smoke, shouldn't drink to excess, have a pint or two.
Yeah.
Don't have 10 pints.
Right. Okay. Well, that on that bombshell, I'll let you go. Lovely.